The presence of people with disabilities at their workplace helps understand challenges they face. It helps us to better cooperate with them and simply be with them on an everyday basis. I believe that people with disabilities should also work, as this helps their development. It prevents them from being enclosed within the four walls, staying in one room. With a job, they have some purpose in life. It was our conscious decision as employers to employ people with disabilities, as they should have the right to be able to make their own living, shouldn't they? I think it's a great idea for such people to work with us. This also teaches us patience, but then it gives us a lot of satisfaction as well. We are eager for more people with disabilities to join us. We will train them and work with them, and I know it's an excellent idea. I employ.
Zatrudniam.
More and more often we find people with disabilities working in offices, restaurants, cafes and service shops. This shows that a growing number of employers have believed in such employees' quality and potential. The presence of employees with disabilities professionally performing their tasks is a clear message. We all create one society as a whole. Therefore, we learn to cooperate with one another as well as to respect each other. Disability does not deprive people of their dreams of a better life, professional satisfaction, of having friends. Job coaches constitute an inherent element of assisted employment. They facilitate communication between the employers and people with disabilities. They guarantee that all the tasks are performed well and the employment process is successful. I have seen them work in Giżycko when they were clearing one of the town's central squares, and that they were doing a great job. So I thought to myself that if they could be coping so fine there, we should also try here in our warehouse. And I guess it was 5 years ago that we employed the first person with intellectual disability. I wanted to work here because I liked the taping, I enjoyed making the delivery notes, the atmosphere here is nice, my manager is nice, and actually everyone is friendly. I'm setting up a shop from the start. I make the invoices myself because I don't need help. I'm hard-working, I work all the time, I'm not lazy. They are, for example, already preparing supplies for shops, which is not that easy, as almost 3,000 products are involved. To prepare something like that and learn it all, well, I would like to see a person without any disabilities learning all this in 2 or 3 months. When I was first employing a person with intellectual disability, I never imagined that they would get to this point and that they were able to be doing such jobs. Yet they are. It was no revolution, there was no big blast. All that it took was a job coach who found a loophole and allowed us to see a potential in our way of thinking how to work with and what kind of jobs we can offer to people with intellectual disabilities. The job coach would appear at the most interesting moments and the most challenging ones, the hardest for their employee, a new employee that Jarek was. But the coach would also show up at the moments that we, employers, lived when we realized that our certain values, dependencies, social ways differed. Then, the coach very aptly integrated those two worlds, found some exciting ways of leading us through the world of a person with intellectual disability, helped us feel at ease in that reality. The job coach made the jigsaw puzzle with the elements from Jarek's world with that from ours match. I deliver documents to all the municipal offices. You have to be careful so as not to make a mistake with any. Oh, the coach helped. At first, I didn't know how to deliver them. Later, I caught it. One needs to try, take a risk. When I create these jobs, I organize them in such a way so as to make it one big family. The employees have to understand each other without words. Ania has been a very good employee. When she first came, though, she was more lonely, focusing only on what her job entailed. But later, the waitresses, because I also spoke to them, started talking to her, asking her questions, and she began telling them not only the things related to work, but also her personal ones. She started asking their advice and became more of a friend with everyone else, and then the work got a strong impetus and everything began to look very nice. I'm really impressed how well Dorota has done here, in my shop, where she has coped really well. Both of us, as it is actually a new experience for me too, found great support in Eva, who's a job coach. So both Dorota and myself could always address her with different problems. But as I've said, I'm truly impressed because Dorota has really worked hard. She's very open. We worked well together, and I think I will agree more often for Dorota to come here to learn the job I do. Kasia came over to work with us thanks to the job coach, Dorota. I had been full of doubts as I hadn't known such people, but I agreed. I'm an open person, so I wanted to hear what it would be like. Dorota explained to me about Kasia's disability. We spoke a lot and decided to give it a try. Kasia has turned out to be a good employee. She's working, progressing, so we will see how things will develop later on. My daughter suffers from the Asperger syndrome. She has difficulties with social interaction. She doesn't like change. I had been thinking of something like this, someone helping Kasia to find a job and for employers to be just like this. I mean, to welcome her. Life's difficult now. Even able-bodied people have difficulties finding jobs, that's true. So how could Kasia, or let's say a boy who is unable to even look another person in the eyes, get employment without any assistance? They are bound to fail even before they try. Had it not been for the job coach, we would have never paid any attention to Kasia. The chef and Kasia, as his help, are able to fully provide the cooking services the restaurant needs. Have we learned anything from the coach? Yes, I think the attitude to people with such disabilities. Additionally, we've had trainings conducted by Dorota's supervisors who told us how to handle relations with Kasia, how to behave, how to cooperate with her. We knew what kind of a job it would be, what Antoni's tasks would be. All we needed to do was just to teach him how to do it. His job is to sort recyclable waste. It is a standard position, just like for any other employee. However, due to Antoni's disability and his height, we had to use some kind of a platform, an extra pallet he stood on, so as to reach the conveyor belt. The coaches came to our residential home and they started organizing jobs for us. You know, when you think you have nothing to do in life, you sometimes get crazy. But like this, you have some occupation and a few pennies to buy some clothes and other things. Ubrać się I inne sprawy mieć. Nie przeszkadza to. You don't mind that's dirty. It's just like this, you can't help it. Nie poradzimy na to. At first, it was difficult to get on with Antoni because he would not take it that there can be some selfless friendship, help. He must have been in life through a lot. I remember I once wanted to help him, but he just snapped at me. But after some time, after I tried again, things got to be just normal. He simply gives his heart and soul to his work, and after work, we sometimes spend time together. We try, all the team does, for him to be with us. us one way or another. I remember he once said that he didn't want to live anymore, and I asked why. "Oh well, I am sick. I have no one," he said. So I replied that we all have something wrong with us, some something more, others less. On some you can see it, on others you can't. And like this, step by step, he has integrated. He feels needed. He makes jokes like the others, and he laughs, you know. Although in our center we look after children and youngsters with intellectual disabilities, with advanced disabilities, we are not a supported employment organization. Ola is here just a rightful employee working part-time. In my previous job, there was this pressure of time because I worked at a Pizza Hut, so you can understand. While here, I can do things at my own pace. I don't have to rush so much. What came as a positive surprise was that Ola soon began social interaction, and she's an accepted employee. Actually, today Ola even offers to handle some other tasks, as she likes children. So she also joins in with such jobs, while certainly not neglecting her basic duties. I too suffer from cerebral palsy, so already as a child I had to do with kids with great disabilities when I attended my physio, I mean. And that was a shock to me, a kind of a clash of two worlds. Here, people severely disabled, and there those who can cope with life more or less. In such a big coffee bar in the city center, it is important for you to be resistant to stress and such working conditions, because it can get very noisy here. On our busiest weekend days, we can have between 2,000 and 2,500 people. So people with disabilities who help us in our work are also exposed to such unfriendly conditions. Working with people with disabilities can teach us a lot, as well as the customers who come here. Eva works as a lobby partner, that is a person cleaning the place and talking to the clients, as this is a part of her job. Well, she often communicates very well with clients. That's why I think this is educational to us employees, but also a great opportunity for our customers, regular people, to have a talk to such a person and to see that she should not really be entirely excluded, but that she's a person you can enjoy a chat with, that you can learn from her about herself. People with disabilities are here. They get out to the people, and people do have a good contact with them, which I think is great. Employees with disabilities don't differ in any way from able-bodied ones. That's why we try to employ them, and we really do need them. We have 5 such employees. I know from my experience that they are excellent at work, and I want to use their experience and skills as much as possible. One of the girls is a trainer. She trains new employees. There are no communication barriers. She can teach perfectly well, verify, control things, suggest solutions, although she's deaf-mute. I think that employers shouldn't worry at all. I must admit that people with disabilities are also very good employees. Once they get the job, they hold on to it and try to perform their tasks well, quite simply because people with disabilities have a far more challenging situation in the labor market. People with disabilities are extremely diligent, reliable employees. They are punctual, they become attached to the place where they work. They are extremely useful in their jobs for which they are trained. Their help is truly priceless. The jobs they do are tasks without which we wouldn't be able to operate. Quite simply, they are essential, as without clean dishes we wouldn't be able to function. So we have given a key position into the hands of a person who knows exactly what to do and does it the best way he or she can. As for our employment policy, it's first of all Sodexo's policy, also a global one. On such a strategic level, we strongly insist on having as many employees with disabilities in our team as possible. I personally consider this a very good project because people who find it difficult in the labor market to get a job, thanks to such projects, get the job in a much easier way. Additionally, if they are appropriately trained, if they also know how to properly handle their tasks, their start is not that difficult. But what's more, they're extremely attractive employees. They really care about their job. I have certain employment limits. I know how many people I can hire. If I had some possibility, I'd certainly employ more people with disabilities. I guess this is for me more important on the emotional level than anything related to financial issues. I'm surprised at other employers that they don't do it more often, that they don't employ, that they don't cooperate with these programs. If I ever open my own business, I'll certainly cooperate with people with disabilities, as on the one hand this provides the business owner with great support from the state, but on the other, people with disabilities are not in any way inferior, and at times they even have much better skills than able-bodied individuals. I've observed over the last several years that the awareness of employers as for the potential of employing people with disabilities has significantly risen here in Poland. I guess this is the result of the effort of all the organizations, of all the projects which deal on daily basis with finding employment for them, and this is very optimistic. It seems to me that within the next several years we should reach the average European figures for the employment of people with disabilities. Remember,
Zatrudnianie osób z niepełnosprawnościami
employing
nie
people with
wymaga tworzenia
disabilities
specjalnych
does not
miejsc pracy.
require creating any special
Zatrudniając
jobs.
osobę z niepełnosprawnością,
By employing a person with a
pracodawca zyskuje
disability,
dobrze
the employer
przygotowanego
wins
i
a
pełnego
well-prepared,
motywacji
strongly
pracownika.
motivated employee, whose
Jego
training
szkoleniem
and
i
job
monitorowaniem na
monitoring will be
stanowisku pracy
provided by a job
zajmuje się
coach.
trener pracy, który
The
także
latter's
wspiera
task is also to
pracodawcę,
facilitate
ułatwiając
communication
m.in.
between the
komunikację z
employer and the employee.
Zapraszając
By
do swojego
taking a
zespołu
person with a
osobę z
disability on your
niepełnosprawnością,
team, you
stajesz się
become a
nowoczesnym
modern employer,
pracodawcą,
creating a
kreującym
positive
pozytywny
image of your
wizerunek
company.
firmy. Projekt innowacyjny testujący z komponentem ponadnarodowym pod tytułem Trener pracy jako sposób na zwiększenie zatrudnienia osób niepełnosprawnych, realizowany w ramach programu operacyjnego Kapitał Ludzki, priorytetu 1, zatrudnienie i integracja społeczna, działania 1.3, ogólnopolskie programy integracji i aktywizacji zawodowej, poddziałania 1.3.6, PEFRON, projekty systemowe. Okres realizacji od 31 grudnia 2012 roku do 31 marca 2015 roku. Lider Państwowy Fundusz Rehabilitacji Osób Niepełnosprawnych. Partnerzy: Polskie Forum Osób Niepełnosprawnych, Polska Organizacja Pracodawców Osób Niepełnosprawnych, a także
CARE, promoting inclusion for people with intellectual disabilities.
z Irlandii